It's time for Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast from the Spacebook for the Fandom Podcast Network with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. And yes, today I'm free. I'm on the shop floor, ready to deliver Doctor Who content and conversation once again on our free-speaking, big-thinking, eclectic, eccentric show for everyone. Whatever decade or century you started watching, reading, or listening along to the ongoing adventures of our hero, Doctor Who, we'll talk about it all on this show. All viewers are encouraged, and we've been even known to have a laugh or two along the way. So come and step into our Tardis, this one here, this one, yeah, and share this journey together here with us on Type 40. Yes, and this time, my playmate on this edition of the show, this is going to be a lively one, I can promise you. It's that curator of the collectibles, the lord of the pre-orders, the one, the only, Mr. JT.
Hello, Spacebookers. Hiya, Dan. How are you?
Fabulous, mate. Particularly as the weather's calmed down a little bit. I feel a lot more comfortable now. I can wear my Doctor Who t-shirt and not get it too steamy, because this is a collectible in itself, and that's very much we treasure these items, don't we, in our everyday lives. You've got to look after them if you want them to be in our lives for as long as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, you're slightly unnatural because you tend to open things, whereas mine is over there in a wrapper. You know, that's the that's the difference here. I am so excited about this edition of the show because we've got a wonderful guest coming here, and it's about everything I love about this crazy show we call Doctor Who, because it's about merchandise and everything like that, and it's just so exciting. And I'm gonna tease you now by showing you one of the things I bought from our special guest's business. Is that. Back in 1996, when the TV movie came along, and this is one of the many items I've bought from this premises over the years. And yeah, look at that, a proper TARDIS key, and it's I keep it in the box, obviously, as you'll know. But so many happy times there.
That's the authentic. Before they went all Yale on us, that's the Alien-esque one, isn't it, from the Tom Baker era? I always associate that with the Tom Baker Doctor.
Yeah, and Pertwee, of course, just in case anybody wants to correct you on that one. But yeah, I mean, there's lots and lots of stuff. Yeah. Ooh,
it's these little things, these trinkets, these devices. You know, they may look like bits of plastic to those not in the know, to the Philistines out there, but they are things of purpose. They have a meaning, don't they? Because we've seen them on the television. We've seen the Doctor use them, or the companions grab them to sort of fight off a monster or whatever else. And it's all part of bringing what we've seen onto screen into our world, really.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very special when you've got a cult show, a family favourites, a British iconic show like Doctor Who. I mean, Doctor Who has given so much for the world, and one of them is, of course, the merchandise. Ta-da! And it's fabulous as well because it's given the rise to people to be able to create businesses around them, and to make a living out of that, because you need somewhere to put these products, as it were. And it's just so wonderful to be able to speak about a really long-running, established, and successful business. And as a business person myself, I'm absolutely thrilled with this show today.
When you think about the success of the Doctor Who universe over the decades too, we were at a time where there was a sonic screwdriver probably in every home in the UK, whether they'd got kids in there or not, I think, after 2006 onwards. And it's I think if you give that to anybody, most people won't be able to resist, whichever model it is, sort of flicking it up and pressing the button and hearing that noise. And I think that's a gift in itself, I think. And although you could argue, I've heard this several times, JT, that people like us ought to grow up. But the disclaimer there is that we can always blame, you see, people like our guest on this edition of the show. So joining us, I can't wait to get into this because I've been waiting to speak to her for so long. This is Alex Looseley-Saul from the Doctor Who shop. Welcome to Type 40.
Woo! Hello! And can I just say, I love your t-shirt. I love that logo. One of my favorites. And you, JT, you sexy beast, you look wonderful.
Thank you, my darling. So do you. And thank you so much for joining us here on Type 40. It's fantastic to see you. And it's wonderful to have the Who Shop being represented here. And we can talk about the Who Shop. How exciting.
Yes. Bless your heart. Thank you for welcoming me with such enthusiasm. It's the enthusiasm that I run my shop with. So I'm at home today. So thank you so much, guys.
Well, the thing is, the Doctor Who world, the Doctor Who universe, I always say people say we live in a fantasy land, but in my defense, I believe that a lot of the best Doctor Who stories, because that's what we love, the stories, we're captivated initially by the stories, but there's some really fascinating and unique stories about the people and the places that are in the real world and people such as yourself. So I can't wait to get into this story. I did see that the Who Shop has this amazing website full of information. So that's out there. We're going to get the links to all of that. We're going to repeat it over and over again throughout this show. So that is all there. And some of your story is there. But I thought, where's I could do that. But it'd be much more fun to ask you face to face, like we are today. I know you've going to have some stories to tell.
Yes, you may have to censor this, but we'll go for it because I think this is what they all want to know. Yes, that's what I wanted to know.
Hold tight, everybody. I can't wait for this. If you'd like to do some real-time traveling of your own, of course, each and every edition of this show, past, present, and future, is just a tap or two away on the device of your choice. If you know where to look, there's well over 100 now. Reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs, and deep dives with all our regular panelists. Lots of awesome guests. We know there's something for every fan at type40.podbean.com. There'll be more about all of that a little later on, as well as a couple of minutes where we will make contact with that matrix of all knowledge that we call the Fandom Podcast Network for a word about all the other great shows and great conversations going on over there. Okay.
Fantastic.
It's awesome, isn't it? That's only just the beginning, Alex. You're going to love this. Now that's all taken care of. That's all the housekeeping for the time being. It's time to pull up the shutters, to check the float and tidy the shelves and open up our conversation with Alex about the Who Shop. Can't wait to get into it.
And this...
Okay, yes. So no sooner had Doctor Who made its impact on the great British public back in late 1963, the opportunity, the challenge to offer the audience of all ages a piece of that magic to take home. Well, that was taken up by licensees, as it is now, and that began a line of merchandise, toys and books and CDs and plushies and slippers and all manner of things, kettles, you name it, that we could take home or gift to those Time Lords in our lives to add a little something Doctor Who to their bedrooms, their spare rooms, their nerd caves, all their sheds. I think that depends on how things go down with the other people in our lives. Now, years ago, I heard tell of not just an aisle, but an entire store dedicated to my favourite TV series, and I never quite believed it. But it was true then, and it's true now. The Who Shop is one of the most treasured locations for generations of Doctor Who fans now, and I'm delighted to say that the founder of the Who Shop is with us today for this chat. Alex, where do we start with this? The Who Shop. How did all this happen?
Wow, goodness me! It's quite honestly, it only seems like yesterday. Really? So I think I must somehow time travel because it was that fast. 1st of December 1984 was the first day the shop opening, but how I got to open the shop was all down to the great event at Longleat, that magnificent event that is still history in the Doctor Who in our hearts.
It's Doctor Who's Woodstock, isn't it? The people claim they were there, but
100%. And my brother goes down. He's the one who got me watching Doctor Who. He's the one who got me banned from watching Doctor Who because he gave me nightmares. And Mother said, no more Doctor Who for her. Leave her alone. Don't bring her in. So, but there you go. So John goes down to Longleat. Can't find anywhere to stay. Ends up staying in the local loo. Waiting until everyone's gone out. Bedded down in the local loo overnight. Bless him. And then Yeah, dedication, kid, dedication. And he comes back on the Sunday night with product. And I said, oh, for goodness sake, John, why on earth did you bring that all the way back from Wiltshire? Surely there's somewhere in London. And he went, well, no, there isn't. And I thought, And at this stage, I was acting. So I had job, no job. And I thought, do you know what? I need a secondary thing in the background. So went away, did some market research, and I had planned to open up a dance and drama studio. And so what I did, I went and I opened up the dance and drama studio in a warehouse in Wapping, and then incorporated a small element in there as the shop. Yeah. And lo and behold, the thing that took off was the shop. So I went, okay, we need to come away from Wapping. And then we moved on to the high street about 18 months, 2 years later. And we didn't look back. We really didn't. And yes, there we are.
So you heard the sound of opportunity knocking. It sounds like you initially thought that, was it a situation where you couldn't believe that nobody had already done this? Was it like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a lovely little place called LTS, and it was London Transport something. And it literally was a little tiny weeny shop that was no bigger than your hallway. And in fact, when you went in there, you had to dump your bags because you couldn't get a person and a bag through the little corridor. And I'd go there and they would have little bits and pieces. And I used to go to FP and they had little bits and pieces, but there was no one. And Doctor Who was such a wonderful show that I couldn't believe that nobody had actually focused on it. And it's so rich in history and everything else. I thought, right, okay, 6 months market research. Lo and behold, as I say, I went for it. I did shows, went up and down the country doing shows when I finished at Wapping. And then, as I say, moved on to the high street and just basically it just grew and grew. I went to travel. It's taken me all around the world. And I have now got the most extensive family you would ever wish to know. And they're all people I've met through Doctor Who. And it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. It's phenomenal, actually, isn't it? Because, we everybody meets, all of us have some sort of connection through Doctor Who. It's really is special, Alex.
Absolutely. I mean, JT is, he's like my brother. He's my extended brother. And I've got lots of extended brothers in Australia. I've got tons in the US.
Yes.
And I've got people whose children, and I hate to say it now, grandkids, come to me who, exactly. And I've known them all through the decades as they were growing up.
Sweet.
And they come to me and say, and I just find, because I don't have any children, my children have all got 4 legs and a tail. And these kids come into me and say, oh, my dad, my granddad, and I go, oh God, oh please,
get out.
The amount of people, Alex, who when I said that we were going to get you on the show, we'd be talking to you. When I say, oh, we've got the Doctor Who shop, they go, oh, Alex, and their faces genuinely, I'm not just saying this, would light up. And it's like, oh, say hi from me. Simon Horton from the Hoonatics, he said, oh, you just say, people just like Simon say, oh, say hello to her. Oh, I'd love to be. Yeah, it very much is that kind of reaction. So this is a two-way thing. I get the impression that your punters feel exactly the same way about you as you do them.
Bless them.
It must be a really nourishing feeling.
It is, because when I've had various sort of ops, when little bits fall off and you go to hospital, it's wonderful. You get these lovely messages coming through. Can I just say to you, just a little snippet of things? It's wonderful now that we have the Zoom, that we can speak to you and do everything.
Yes.
Because one of the interviews I did do, I'd completely forgotten I was going to be doing this interview. Yeah. And I had my mobile phone. So it wasn't the days of the mobile phone. And the phone went. And I started talking to the person. And I did the interview. But I did the interview in the bath. Because I'd gone a bath, got in the bath, Totally forgot. So thank God there was no phone call in that time, because that could have been really horrible. And when I finished, and I said, are we off air yet? And he said, yes, we are, darling. And I said, well, just to be aware, can you turn the volume up on your mic at home? And I went, shh, can you hear that? And he went, yeah. I said, I'm in the bath. And I swear to God, he fell off his chair. Yeah. Bless them.
Actually, Alex, I think you're inspiring here a brand new spin-off for us here at Type 40, where we can do Type 40 talks in the bath, and we can have various celebrities. We can have Colin Baker coming on, we have Nicola Bryant coming in, we can have anybody from the show coming on in the bath, and we could discuss rubber ducks.
Well, absolutely. Well, considering, do you remember when the breakfast show, Channel 4, used to do it, they all be in bed? Do you remember that? We could start our own in the bath.
We could do that. I think we could do it.
The acoustics is going to be fantastic, and we do get a lot of people do reach out to us and say, you know, I listen to you, or I watch you when I'm sat on the loo. So we don't take that personally, you know, whatever. It all works for us.
Nothing to do with our content.
I did say you might have to edit a few bits and pieces, so there you go.
Moving on. Okay, so this was back in 1984 when you founded the Who Shop, as you say, just in a high street, a normal, everyday British high street. So the kind of people that would open the door, was it a mixture of people with a dedicated Doctor Who fans who would track it down, or passers-by wondering what on earth goes on in there? What kind of people did it attract initially?
Right, I've got to correct you, because what you're looking at the moment is the 1991
okay.
Who Shop. The original shop was in a warehouse, believe it or not. And I opened that 1st of December 84, in combining it with a dance studio, drama studio. As I say, the shop was the thing that took off. And then after a little space of time, I then moved. I went and then found out about conventions, did the conventions. And of course, we had that dip in the late 80s. But then we came forth, and I thought, you know what? Time to go back on the high street. So on the high street, I went, and that's 1991 on the high street. And the people that opened that door, who knew who would come through the door? You never know who is the person that's going to open your door that morning. And I have met some of the most amazing people.
Really?
Funny enough, in the warehouse, I met some of the people who work on Doctor Who now, who were young children, who were young adults, who were just starting their careers. And it's phenomenal to watch those people and what they've managed to achieve. And they are household names, they are world names. And it's just brilliant to have been involved in that in whatever minor way. It's brilliant. I love it.
Alex, can I ask you? You're saying that you went into the East Ham shop in 1991. Now, Doctor Who, of course, hadn't been on the air by that point for a couple of years, and fandom itself, we were all a bit sort of, what's happening? It was always in the air that the BBC were looking to make it independent, or this was going on, or that wasn't going on, you know. And we were all a little bit sort of, you know, optimistic still at that point, but nothing was concrete. And here you are going into a high street shop in London with London prices as they were back then, and you know, setting up and moving your business forward. Was there an element of trepidation from you, thinking the lead show is actually off air right now?
Oh, absolutely. I was very lucky because I was married, so I had someone who had an income that was able to support us. So it was that sort of, let's give this a go. You know, we're going to be okay. I was never interested in the monetary side of things. It was always a passion. It was always a love. In the same way that you get so many people who make props and models. They're not doing it to make money. They're doing it because they've got a passion for it. So I just wanted to see, after going to conventions up and down the country and then subsequently around the world, there was a market out there for like-minded people who wanted to have a central place to talk, to come to see things, to buy things. And that was why I thought, you know, I think it is worth giving it a go to see if it works. And thank goodness it did work.
We talk a lot on our shows about the identity of the show, about its link to the British public in particular as part of our cultural heritage. I don't think that's bigging it up too much, and the iconography of it.
Absolutely. Because
and I think that. Go on. Yeah, sorry.
You watch any television program, Coronation Street, EastEnders. There's always somewhere, a week doesn't go past without some kind of mention. Either they say about something being, it's like a TARDIS. Always you hear something. And yes, so something that's got nothing to do with Doctor Who, but as you say, it's iconic and it is part of British culture. And those people, they emphasize the wonderful world of Doctor Who by being picked up by a TV show that has no connection with Doctor Who. And yet they'll say, that's just like a TARDIS. He looks like Doctor Who. It's that. It's the fundamental thing about British structure of Doctor Who that it is so, we're also passionate about it, but it's loved outside of Doctor Who.
Do you think it's handy that because it sort of starts with the TARDIS for people, doesn't it? I think when I speak to people who, and not every Doctor Who fan collects stuff, but most Doctor Who fans own something. And usually what I find is that it starts with a TARDIS of some size or shape from whichever time in the series history. And do you think that some of that, tying into what we've just been saying, comes from the fact that, a TARDIS, we've got, particularly if you're in London and that sort of the tourist trappings of that anyway, people who go to that city and want to buy sort of pencil cases shaped like, I don't know, with beef eaters on them and with the old red phone boxes and things, you used to be able to, you probably still can get those. And the TARDIS sort of fits in very nicely, doesn't it? With that line of product and that range of iconography. Do you think and it's sort of, I think Doctor Who is able to sort of seamlessly move into that, but expand it too with our imaginations and gradually sort of burrow its way in with people. It starts with the TARDIS before they've got a shelf full of things and their partners maybe saying, are you going to keep that there? And then it grows and grows and grows and grows like that. And you can exploit that, can't you?
It's wonderful. The TARDIS, again, iconic piece, but again, a piece of history that was completely unconnected to TV series. It was a police box. It was a utility. It was a piece of working assistance for the police force. And then the geniuses behind Doctor Who at the very, very start to take something that it was seen on the streets at that time and then to transform it. Thank goodness that it stuck, that the chameleon circuit stuck and remained like that. But I have so many people that just want to have, even though they're not Doctor Who fans, I get so many people, which is why these little tiny weeny beasts, people will come and say, I just want a little TARDIS. I just want to put it on my desk. I just want to give it to a friend. I want it to sit on my computer. And yet they're not really Doctor Who fans. It's just an iconic piece.
Yeah, very British as well.
I get the distinct impression you're a people person, Alex, and that I can see why people flock to you. And I can tell that you're a performer as well. So when you talk about, and you could say that connects very well with selling. But also, I can tell too from the way you spoke about this wasn't something that you sort of steamed into on a wing and a prayer. You sounds like you're very shrewd about it and have been over the years, over the decades. But that being said, is it a case of that's the kind of thing that you do? You make sure that's taken care of so that you can enjoy the other sides to it.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be realistic about anything that you do. It doesn't matter what field. Backup plans, because I was in the theatre, I was in TV. I wanted to have a backup plan of some description, and that was what it was. But I wanted a backup plan with something that I was going to enjoy. I couldn't go and do something that wasn't in my soul. And the wonderful thing, I am very much a people person. I'm very much a person because I'm from Liverpool, and we are the people who, when you're standing at the bus stop, we have got everybody's life story, life history before the bus comes. Because we're like that. It's a bit different. It's a bit different in London, because you chat to somebody and they almost leap onto the other side of the road, thinking, oh, they're talking to me. What's going on? But you see, when you walk through my doors, you come into Alex's world. So you can put all that nonsense outside, come in, talk to me, talk to like-minded friends. I mean, yesterday we were celebrating 10 years of one of my staff members' anniversaries.
Oh, fabulous.
And the joke is, one of the people that was celebrating is a guy who worked for me 30 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we rekindled on a film set about 3 years ago.
No.
We were at Holborn at one of the events, and this guy comes ambling towards me going, Alex, Alex, Alex. And I'm looking, thinking, who the heck is this? And he's about to, I'm so sorry, darling. I mean, you were a lot slimmer the last time I saw him. And he's rather rotund, let's put it that way. And then I realized he used to have this gorgeous crew cut of ginger hair, absolutely fabulous, and he was bald. And I'm thinking, oh my word! And he's come back to work with me, bless it.
Really? How fantastic!
30 years ago, and funny enough, we were at the Novotel anniversary. So I can't wait for the next anniversary, because here we go again.
Yeah,
30 years ago,
fantastic.
60 years next year. Phenomenal.
It really is. I mean, what a fantastic story.
Yeah. And I've got loads of those. Tons and tons of those. In America, going off to do a convention, and used to stay with a lovely girl called Bart. And she came to the UK in I think it was 85, and she stayed with me because she'd had she had a bag stolen, and everything. And of course, in those days, we didn't have credit cards, we didn't have debit cards, so all her cash went. And great girl, and I said, well, don't worry, darling, you can stay at the shop. And of course, I had the warehouse, so I had a shower, I had a bathroom, I had the whole 9 yards, and she lived pre all these people who lived in warehouse, honey. She was one of the first. She lived at the shop. She had 5,000 square feet to play in. It was great. So she stayed there. So of course, when I went out to the States, I'd go and stay with her. And there was a guy called Matt, one of her friends, and Matt used to dress up as Perry, and he had fabulous legs. Now my Matt, all these years later, I go stay with him and his wife in Los Angeles. Yeah. And again, they're family. And they come and stay with me. I go and stay with them. Absolutely tremendous. And this is what Doctor Who is all about.
Absolutely. You
start talking to somebody, they find out you like Doctor Who. And it's like, here we go. You're my long lost cousin. Yes. You're my long lost uncle, aunt. Because we've all got a like mind. And it's great. It's wonderful to see. And funny enough, when you talk about various things, how things trigger off, mentioned about sonic screwdrivers. Now, you think of the sonic screwdriver, back in the days that started off. Don't you think Mr. George Lucas was looking at the sonic screwdriver and thinking, I'm going to invent something similar to that, and came up with a lightsaber? I think he got this idea from the sonic screwdriver.
Oh, it's totally
just
true.
I mean, a bit bigger, a bit more lethal. Yeah, I think you could be right. We may be onto something. We get a lot of that when we make these shows, the people that we connect with. And I think that all Doctor Who fans experience this, where it becomes a shorthand. And although I won't go so far as to say that when you meet another Doctor Who fan, you're going to agree on everything. In fact, it tends not to go that way. But you do have, and I think you're right. I think it becomes a family thing whereby, because JT and I've got, I think we're similar about a lot of things to do with Doctor Who, but the areas that we really drastically differ on. And for us, the amusement, I think, in that, And the thing that we probably get the most out of it is comparing and contrasting that. And say, oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah, because I never looked at it that way. Or, oh no, I didn't like that. Oh, but I did like this. It's that kind of shorthand. And you can bicker and never fall out in the same way that family do. And I can completely understand why you could not see somebody because it's getting people I haven't seen for years, and you bump into them and you say, you think, oh, you're still watching Doctor Who? Say, oh, what about when that missing episode come back? Or, and oh yeah, and it's immediately and the stories and the banter, it all starts coming. Yeah, it really bonds people together and it bonds them for life. And I suppose that when people are in your life and you mean something to them, they mean something to you. It's understandable that you want to sort of demonstrate that friendship, I suppose, with gifts and trinkets and greetings cards, Doctor Who greetings cards there too, which must form quite the backbone of the stock that you carry. So give us an idea of the range of things that are in the Who shop just now and throughout the years. What are some of your greatest hits and best memories and some of the things that have surprised you the most?
I think we'll be celebrating the 90th by the time we finish as to the type of stock that I start with and finish with. I have, you name it, quite honestly. I've even got, now this is going to get really, really bizarre. I mean, do you remember the Tom Baker Australian underpants? Did you ever see those?
I've got them over there somewhere, yeah.
Well, now, because obviously there's been a huge upsurge of female Doctor Who fans, we've even got frilly Doctor Who ladies' knickers.
Oh, really? Well, that's the quality for you.
Oh, yes. Hopefully, once people buy them, they're never to be seen again, hopefully. But they're very sweet. They're very
Tomorrow's
good.
washing.
But yes, tomorrow's washing indeed. But I mean, lots of different things like because we're in London, you will need a travel card holder.
There you go.
So,
of course you will.
Absolutely. To put your psychic paper in to get you off. The ladies will need their purses to put all their bits and pieces in. And of course, it's bigger on the inside. Now, what's bigger on the inside? Well, this was my design. I got one of the licensed companies to make this for me, and it turns into a packing shopping bag. And then you can just pack it away.
That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, my idea. Thank you very much. And you can just pack it away, pop it in your bag, pop it in your pocket, and there you go. Off you go. You go to the shops, put your next Doctor Who stuff in it. Absolutely wonderful.
And are you going to do the same thing for a sleeping bag, Alex? Yes.
I beg pardon, JC. I didn't hear that, darling. Can you please repeat?
Are you going to do the same sort of thing for a sleeping bag?
Absolutely. I don't see a reason why not. Absolutely, because
Glastonbury, here we come.
In the age where they're charging more for a bag for life, I think your invention there is remarkable and timely. And I think you could be onto something here. We could, if QVC doesn't do Doctor Who stuff, I think it's something that we may well have to do on here, because that was like seeing something off one of those channels. Absolutely fantastic idea. I love it. Yeah,
we did that, didn't we, JC? We did, JT. We did do QVC, didn't we? That was a long time ago.
We absolutely did. Yeah, we did. Oh, look at that lovely picture of you there.
Oh, excellent.
There you go. Demonstrating more of the delights that can be found in the Who shop, obviously. So what is the sort of floor space that you've got at the Who shop at your current location then, Alex? Because you have moved a couple of times, haven't you? But I understand your present location. It's the largest ever. It's the most dimensionally transcendental of them all.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're on now 2,300 square feet. And this is not green screen behind me. No. And I know that's an old term because we've all progressed onwards, but I'm actually sitting in my museum, something that I'd always wanted to do over the years, because I used to have a cabinet with bits and pieces in the museum. But at home, I had loads and loads of costumes that I'd collected, been given by some of the directors, some of the actors over the years. So I'm now in the museum doing this so that you can see it's not just a retail outlet. We do have some beautiful things that people will come down. We do raise money for charity. Over the years, the museum, we've raised money for Help for Heroes, Scottish Little Soldiers, cancer, various hospices. From our lovely people who we've all known and loved. Lots of different charities. We get charities who get in contact with us. Alderhay Hospital, close to my heart. When I was 20 minutes old, I was in Alderhay Hospital, so we've done things for them. So it is essentially a one place stop shop for everything Doctor Who. Absolutely. Whether you just want to come in and see the props and costumes from the 60s going up to very, very recent times, or you just want to come in and buy yourself mini TARDIS.
Or both. You can do both. I mean, we were always saying that the Who shop, if you are coming to London from anywhere in the United Kingdom or in anywhere in the world, and you're going to London to look at, you know, these things that we all do as fans, we go and look at the locations. Wapping is huge now, of course. Yes. You're mentioning Wapping earlier, and that's huge now because you can actually get a drink there these days. Whereas in our day, of course, you got mugged. But, you know, it's a case of like you can go into there now and you can have a look around. But the Who shop is part of that place that if you're going to London, you have to stop in on the Who shop because it's a mecca, isn't it? You've become this institution where you can go not just to get your merchandise, but to meet you and the team. And also now to see this museum. I mean, it's a fantastic service that you've got there as well, isn't it?
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah, it's to say it's because there's a passion, and people who work for me have a passion for the show. I don't employ someone who just wants to sit on a till and ring through. I want someone who has a love for people, for the show, obviously, who have knowledge of the show, because they're family. I mean, my staff are just like my family, and they always know that if they have any issues, they can come to me and we'll resolve them. We'll sort them out. A certain writer who I will not name, but is incredibly well known. When I was at the original shop, he ran away from university, and he came to the shop, and he was literally sobbing on my shoulder, saying that he was not enjoying what he was doing. It wasn't what he wanted to do. And I said, well, darling, what do you want to do? And he said, well, I want to write. And I said, well, have you spoken to your parents? And he said, oh, but they've spent so much money sending me to university. I said, well, just imagine at the same time, there are other people at home going, Mom, Dad, I don't like the course I'm on. Please, I want to change something else. You speak to your parents, speak to the university, and I'll bet your bottom dollar you'll be able to get on a writer's course. They got on a writer's course, and that person writes for Doctor Who, has written huge, phenomenal series for TV. And bless them, they were in my shop, and I sent them forward and said, go and do it, darling, because you've got the talent to do it.
That's fabulous.
My Saturday girl, bless her cotton socks.
Oh, you still have a Saturday girl. Oh, I love that. That welcome you.
My little Saturday girl. She now works with Tom Cruise, Clint Eastwood, you name it. She works with him. She wanted to do things within the TV. So we took her, we introduced her to doing extra work. And then she went to do stuff behind scenes. And now she is, well, my word, I am so proud of my George. She is just phenomenal.
Right. That's fantastic. I better come and work for you.
This is what we do. We nurture. We understand when people have a passion, they want to do something else. And if we can open a few doors for them, 10 years, there's the boy.
There he is. Congratulations. Hang on a minute.
What's this guy's name? Let's congratulate him.
Owen. This is Owen.
Yeah.
Owen, a local boy. And he came in so quiet, so unassuming. And now he's got a following of his own. And he's just
famous. Hang on, Alex.
Yes.
Are you trying to tell me that Owen is now 29?
Owen came in at 17. And now he's 27, and he's been with me for 10 years.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
Why do I feel old suddenly?
Congratulations.
Timeless, darling. Timeless.
It does sound as if people, whichever regeneration cycle they're on, they can come to you and get a bit of life coaching too. Is that how it works?
Oh yes, absolutely. And why not? We've all got our own life experiences.
Yeah.
And if we can help someone else along the way, then we should do it. It's our responsibility to help everybody in whatever way that we can, because we nurture that talent. We get the benefit because we see it coming back, and there's nothing more pleasurable in seeing one of you guys that you've assisted over the years, watching them achieve and watching them see the phenomenal. My George, she's a member of BAFTA. She's won a BAFTA, for crying out loud. Yay!
To hear you talk about this,
great.
It seems like you are, you're not just a retailer. It feels like you're a community leader, really, in many respects, and that your store, your shop, is not just a location on TripAdvisor. I've been onto the TripAdvisor. I've seen some of the glowing and the people posting pictures saying, "Yes, I've been to the Who shop. I've ticked that box." There's a lot of that too. Yes. But also there is that relationship too, isn't there? With not just with the BBC, but with the people who are working on the show now, who've worked on it in the past, who've starred in it in the past. Yeah. And they seem to come back time and time again, don't they? When they can do the signing. Lots of signings have happened at the Who shop over the decades too, haven't there? People coming back time and time again. I suppose you keep them fed and watered, that kind of thing.
Oh yes. I'll tell you a lovely one. The fabulous Mary Tam. Yes. Oh my word! So Mary came to the shop that was on the high that we were on when we were on High Street North, and we had a little break. So we had a little fire escape out the back. So I said, "Oh, come on!" Mary wanted to have a cigarette, so I said, "Come on, Mary. Then we'll go and sit on the fire escape." I mean, probably get into trouble for saying this, but we did it. And I had a bottle of champagne. Opened the bottle of champagne, and the greatest pleasure. It was watching Mary Tam with a packet of tobacco, rolling tobacco. She had a cigarette, put the tobacco in. She's rolling the cigarette with one hand and sipping champagne with the other. That was a class act. Mary Tam, I miss you, darling. You were fabulous.
So I met Mary Tam. She's the most, even now, 30 years on, the most strikingly beautiful woman I think I've ever seen.
Stunning.
And so sophisticated. So this picture of her sat on the fire escape with a roll up just goes to show, doesn't it? So yeah, we've got some pictures here too of some more of your friends and your family that people will definitely recognise from the show over the years.
My Sophie. Oh, I'm so pleased.
Caroline John
she's come around again, and she's going to be even bigger again. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, lovely. Pipe smoking. Smoking. Yeah, kid you not.
Caroline John smoked a pipe. That's true too, is it?
A pipe. Yeah, she did again. Come on, out the back we went, and she had a little. I couldn't believe when she took this pipe out. I was like, "What?" She said, "Oh yes, I smoke a pipe. Much better for you than a cigarette."
Hey, I've got a couple of friends who say the same thing.
Lovely Nicola. Oh, Wendy. These are just wonderful, beautiful people that I have had the privilege to meet, work with, and have for events. Just great, so giving. We love him. We just absolutely love him. And I was going to tell you of it's gone for the moment. It will come back. Oh, there's another mad one. Another one who wants to go and get. We were at Birmingham doing a show, Spring Fair. And a security guard comes dashing up to me, and he says to me, "Are you Alexandra?" I went, "Yes." And he said, "I've got John Pertwee upstairs. He won't come down." And I said, "Oh, he's not with me, darling. He's with one of the other stands." He said, "Yeah, but he won't come down." He said, "No, I'm staying here till Alexandra comes up for me." So I've gone upstairs, and I've seen John, and he's seething, bless him. And I said, and I looked at them and I said, "Has he had anything to eat?" And he went, "Well, no." I said, "Right, cheese omelette, cup of Earl Grey tea. John, want to come for a cigarette? I said, right, where can we go for a cigarette for him? So we went we were on the roof of the convention centre at Birmingham.
I know it.
John having a cigarette.
Well, I don't know the roof, but I know it.
And it was fabulous. You could see for miles and miles. So then he came in and he had his thing. I said, you're okay. And I said, let me know when you're ready. I said, okay, can somebody please go and find whatever stand John's supposed to be on? So I take him down, I take him onto the stand. And of course, as soon as he gets in front of the stand, he was fine. And off he went. And it made them really, really happy. And then about an hour or two later, I look up and there's John in front of my stand with the guy. And I said, is everything okay? And he said, oh yeah, it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. He said, John wants to come in and see you. Next thing, I've got John on my stand for the next hour. And I said to this guy, I said, hang on a second. You're the one who paid for John. He said, oh no, it's fine. Yeah. Had you not intervened, he was not going to come out of the green room upstairs.
He needed warming up, Alex. That's what
he did. Bless him.
Well, even Mr. Pertwee got stage fright occasionally, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That was an example of that, Alex.
Really? I didn't.
Yeah, he we always saw John as this very big, very charismatic, Mr. Action Man. But he used to get stage fright, and he needed to be just coaxed and be bolstered up by, to make sure that everything was okay. And that was why, I mean, you look at that, there's actually another shot where literally, when you really know someone and they literally have got their arm around your neck, like almost like a half Nelson sort of thing. You only allow some to do that. You really trust. And there's a photograph of me literally with John, who's like this. And I've got my head literally leaning back, looking up at him. John was a phenomena. And he and I got on very well.
This is one of the beautiful things of the Who shop. I mean, look at that. We've got the gorgeous Liz there as well. I mean, it's great that, a business like yours has been able to chronicle all these fantastic, wonderful people that some of us were very, very lucky to meet and who participated with you, because it's a history in itself. Yeah.
Again, lovely Liz. She asked me to do something. And again, I don't think the family would mind me saying, but she lost her dad and I was in Liverpool at the time. I'd not long buried my own dad. And she phoned me up and she said to me, would you do me a favour? Would you get in contact with the Liverpool Echo and put an obituary in the Liverpool Echo for me? Which obviously I went off and did, because there was always those people. And of course, I never told anybody. Nobody knew about that. Yeah. I mean, we can say it now because we're so many years after it. And again, Elizabeth, she was a talent, a wonderful talent. I mean, another exquisite looking woman, but again, fragile, and needed to have that sort of companionship. And she always knew I would look after her. She always knew I would keep, respect her privacy,
keep a confidence council,
keep those things. But I'm sure now that I'm sure it's fine to be told, because it's not revealing anything about. And no, I am not going to write a book. So don't worry out there, people who I know, you all know who you are, and you know what's happened in the past. It is safe with me. I will take it to my grave.
Damn
and blast. We'll keep working on it, JT. I think we should keep working on it.
We'll keep putting her up. Yes.
Delightful stories. I trust you'll agree. We're gonna pump Alex for some more of these stories that we can't possibly broadcast, while we shoot you off into a parallel dimension filled with unmissable geeky talk and amazing analysis, courtesy of our friends across the Fandom Podcast Network on all those other shows. Here's a quick chat about all of that with our mate Kevin. It's back here, JT, Alex, and myself for more talk about the history and the future of the Who Shop.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We'd like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to these other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, discussing the latest in entertainment pop culture. Blooded Kings, Immortals Take Notice, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theaters, where we celebrate our favorite movies. Time Warp, the fandom flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie and TV pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville show. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our show covering the time-traveling Doctor Who universe with host Dan Hadley. Lethal Mullet, an 80s and 90s action film podcast with host Adam P. O'Brien. Also check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast with hosts Scott, Derek, and Nathan. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast, a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. And check out our newest shows, The Fandom Show, our monthly Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube exclusive show about the month's hottest topics in fandom, and the FPN True Believers MCU podcast, discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the related Marvel television and streaming MCU universe, including the connections to the original Marvel comics. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on several platforms. Please subscribe to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel to receive notifications of new podcast episodes and live events. You can enjoy all of the Fandom Podcast Network audio podcasts on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. The Fandom Podcast Network is on all major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast and iTunes. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find the Fandom Podcast Network on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network and on Twitter at FanPod Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
We've teased and tantalized you there with our own merch. Yes, we can even clothe you too. JT doesn't like that phrase. There's merch to match all of those shows, including Type 40. If you head over to teepublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network, and you'll find that store full of all the team colours for all of the shows, on everything from the t-shirts to phone cases and tapestries as big as your feature wall. Seeing is believing. Treat yourself, treat your other selves, and it all goes to support the Fandom Podcast Network into the bargain. So everybody wins. But we are back with Alex hasn't budged on any of the details, any of the juicy gossip, but nevertheless we're back here talking about the Who shop with JT and Alex.
I'm looking at all that gorgeous merchandise in your shop window.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Look at that. I mean, and there's K9 there, and there's the Dalek, and dandies and t-shirts. Alex, when you started the Who shop in the late 80s, early 90s, was it a struggle because there wasn't as much merchandise around then as there could be now? So were you just selling things like the Target books, the odd album? What's your recollections of those early days when it came to the actual stock?
Okay, so if you, I don't know whether I'm sure you will be aware, when the BBC first started doing the merchandise, it was called the exploitation department, and then obviously it became enterprises. Well, in '84, when I started in the warehouse, it was mainly the books. I got a good supply of Palatoy stuff. I also got the Talking Daleks. I mean, sorry. The Talking Dalek is still one of the greatest pieces of Doctor Who memorabilia that ever there was and will be. I love them. Rollerkins. I mean, you remember the little Rollerkins?
The original one.
Yeah, exactly. That then got remade by Product Enterprise.
Yeah, that's right.
Product Enterprise, wonderful merchandise that they produce. Merchandise, note merchandise, not merch. Merchandise.
We've got another one, everybody. We've got another one.
Remember, it's mathematics. It's not math.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Merchandise. Because it seems to it's like spam, isn't it? Merch. So
Spam takes me back to Liverpool as well, but that's another story.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Deep fried spam. Yeah, we won't go there.
No.
And I remember these wonderful notebooks that were they folded in on themselves, and then you slotted them into an outer cardboard case. I had various shelves, and of course, then at the very, very beginning, I started people coming in to do signing sessions straight away. Yeah. So again, the photographs things, because there was already a photograph license out there with John McElroy. So I had those. Oh, my Bob and my Paul. Oh gosh, we miss our Bobby big time. What a man with a big heart. And of course, our Paul, who will be the savior of K9. You know, we're all got our fingers crossed. Keep hoping. You know,
we're all rooting for Paul.
We're all supporting our Paul, and we need to be sending good thoughts to him to keep going. So K9 will have a future.
Absolutely.
A long future.
But there are these people, I mean, Paul Tams and the wonderful late Bob Baker, who's a guest on our show too. Two guys, I think, who symbolise the, obviously Bob had that distinguished history as a TV writer and a producer, as a script editor, all those hats that he wore, but also a very shrewd businessman and somebody who obviously created K9 and then took it into all these other dimensions too. But he's joined by people like Keith Barnfather at Real Time. You know, that these people who have seen corners to Doctor Who and expanded them in a similar way, I suppose, to how you have. So they're not connected to the BBC, but they're part of the family in a similar sort of way. And I would imagine there's a cooperation between yourself and people, whatever they're working on, whatever its official or unofficial status, to reach their public, to connect with the how can I put it, that extended family really that we all share, and to maximize that, to make real events of these signings and things at your shop, and to turn releases into events in themselves. I would imagine that people like Paul, people like Keith would come to you knowing that you are a safe pair of hands, a fabulous location, and the perfect hub to whip up enthusiasm around their line of products and something that they're excited enough about to bring it to the market in the first place.
Yeah, because it's funny you mentioned Keith Barnfather, who again I've known, donkey's years.
Don't think about it.
Yeah, I
because I took him the idea and the project for Longleat, because I'd been speaking about how I got started, and I was talking to Jeremy Bentham. And I said, oh, yeah, Longleat, blah, 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 blah. And Jeremy Bentham said, oh, I've got photographs and I've got bits and I've got this and I've got this and I've got film footage. And I thought, oh, do you know what? That'd be a great idea. And I said to Keith, did you know Longleat? And there were so many people that didn't go. It was heralded as this amazing event. And I didn't go. My brother went. That's where the shop really stood, was created from. We would love to see something. And there's footage out there. So that's exactly what he did. He went out and he approached people. I think he got stuff from David Howe as well as Jeremy. And then people sent him snippets, all sorts of stunning footage. And lo and behold, up until Syl, Longleat was his biggest selling DVD until he got Syl, which is, Syl is just went stratospheric. That was absolutely stunning. Best thing that could have happened was Nabil walking on up and handing a copy to a certain ex-Labour leader who was standing in view of all of the press holding a copy of Syl.
I remember this. Yeah, is that photoshopped?
Well, that was brilliant. That was wonderful.
I do wonder who eggs who on in that relationship, Nabil and Keith. They're both big characters, both very creative people.
Because the following week, I had loads of people saying, have you got a copy of that thing? I said, you don't have to tell me. I know exactly what you talk about. Yes, we do. It was wonderful.
How it goes.
Here we go.
I love it. But obviously, Keith, the guy behind the Mythmakers range, which I think he's got an anniversary coming up very soon in the next year or two as well, and that whole line. But what in your time as the founder, the owner, the curator of all things at the Who Shop, what have been your steadiest sellers over the years? The perennials, or any favourite lines of merchandise, or things that are game changers?
Gosh,
pop in the carrier bag.
Literally is a wealth of merchandise. I mean, I've always been known for my t-shirts, because everybody loves a t-shirt, you know,
they do,
like yours. I love it. So t-shirts, brilliant. DVDs, despite the fact that streaming is available everywhere, people still want, Doctor Who fans especially, still want something in, say, I knew, Dan, they want something they can hold at any particular time. They can literally go boom, along the shelf, take it out, whack, and they can watch it. And the animations that the BBC have been doing about the Lost Stories, my word, they have sold phenomenally well. And I've had signings for those. And the way people come in and just absolutely, one or two perhaps not being as well received as others, but mostly absolutely brilliant. Merchandise has evolved hugely. I remember when Gary Russell used to do the little cassettes.
Yes.
Time in, I think, was it Time in Space? I think they were called.
In Space and Time,
yeah.
Something like that.
And they were wonderful.
Audio visuals, they were called. Audio visuals.
Audio visuals, that's right. And
that's right.
He and Bill Baggs kept, when Doctor Who was off the air, they were the ones that kept it going, quite frankly, with us, because they produced merchandise. And then it then progressed later on, and obviously Big Finish came in, and they are an amazing phenomena all on their own. I mean, just staggering. And it's lovely to see them bringing in the older Doctor Who person and the new Doctor Who person, because they are just so well respected within their genre. I mean, they are the most successful. We call it a small business.
Market leaders, aren't they, in audio?
Yes, they
in audio drama? You know,
absolutely,
it's that
they
simple.
Are.
It's brought it all back and all together. And who knows where they're going in the future? With obviously very excited about the creativity behind all that. It is from those little acorns, as you say, back then, from those little cassettes. And I suppose, again, they needed somewhere to, even for the most humble of operate, from the big corporate things, like those big Battles in Times cards that came out in the mid-noughties, whether it's things like that are everywhere and all over the media, or just ideas that people want to try and test the market for. Yeah. They've got an ideal place to bring it to the market with you, haven't they? Yeah,
it's lovely, because we mentioned about the little rollerkins, and then when wonderful Steve from Product Enterprise came in to see me. Now, this was before he'd started off, and he came in with this beautiful sculpt of Tom Baker, and I just thought it was amazing. And I introduced him then to another chap who was to do with the then Titan, and they all linked, because that's the thing.
Yes,
we love to link people together. And then Steve said to me, I want to produce items that I wanted as a child. Because again, he was from Southport, not necessarily going to have the sort of money to be able to afford things. So things he could buy, Woolies things, little Cherry Daleks and things like that, brilliant. But he then made things, and the quality was just astonishing, absolutely brilliant. And again, he was just an organization with a passion. And it was great that I could then assist him, and then he brought the product to me, and off it went around the world. It was just brilliant. And I love that people look at things, and I do get, unfortunately, phone call upon a phone call saying, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And sometimes I guide people and say, yeah, that sounds a wonderful idea. Get all your ducks in a row and then approach this person at the BBC. And, you never know, all the best. Some other people I say, that, honey, in just my opinion, and you have to think for yourself, but in just my opinion, that perhaps is not suitable. Like, I'll get some people who will want to make something which I know, due to health and safety, it's not going to be accepted. But of course, that's only my opinion.
A little bit like Dragon's Den here from Alex at the Who Shop. I wasn't expecting this at all.
This is the whole point. I mean, Alex has been around with the Who Shop for such a magnificent time now, that the networking in business is so important, especially now. And when you've got somebody like who's so approachable, like yourself, Alex, where you can go along and say, "What do you think of this?" and "Can you introduce me?" I mean, that's again, it's part of the importance of what you can offer there, and it's brilliant to have that. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that some of the products that you've seen over the years where somebody's come along and touted something and you've gone, "Oh, I'm not too sure about that." Yeah. From 2006 onwards, we, of course, saw in merchandise a massive explosion. I mean, I think it took all by surprise, but, I mean, look at some of the stuff I've got here from 2006 onwards, and it's sort of continued now. Was there anything that you saw coming in from 2006 onwards thinking, I don't really want that in my shop, but you've had to take it? Come on, give us the juice.
There was one book that I would not stock.
Right.
And that was the J&T book.
Okay.
And I had, again, J&T. We all had, he was a very, he had his own opinions in the way that we all have our own opinions. We butted heads a couple of times, but over the years, we got a real healthy respect for each other. And he was very, very sweet to me when he knew what his future was going to be. And he called me in. We were at Battlefield. And he called me in and we had a lovely, lovely chat. And I mean, funny enough, you can't see it, but literally behind you, I'm looking at one of his Hawaiian shirts.
No way, you have not.
I've got one of his Hawaiian shirts, and it's a photograph of John wearing the Hawaiian shirt that's on the wall in the museum at the moment.
Yeah, we're big fans of J&T at Type 40.
Oh yeah. So I just wouldn't stock that. I'm stocking the new one.
Yeah, but that's a sort of different outlook on it. It's
Richard Molesworth's production diaries. Yeah, we did a whole show about that with Richard. But yeah, I went and I looked. Obviously, we talk about the fact that you've got this warm brand in the Who Shop, and people come over the threshold and all these sorts of things. But the times do change, don't they? And what I like about it is that you've still got all those bases covered. You've still got those relationships with people across the board.
Yeah.
Any aspect of Doctor Who. Yeah. But you've also expanded. You've got your website. You've got your social media. So I went and I hit up the website, and it's for, you mentioned that shirt. I was looking through all the various tabs on your website. And I see that you've got this museum. Yep. So take a trip through time and space in the Who Shop Museum. Step into our screen-used Tardis and come face to face with over 120 different props, costumes, and artifacts from the worlds of Doctor Who, Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures, and K9, dating all the way back to 1964. This was a big surprise. I had no idea you did this. So how did this come about?
Well, again, this infamous brother, John. The first convention I did, it was in Southampton, and they had an auction, and we bought. It was the guy Pettifer. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He used to do Pebble Mill, and he was in Kinder, and there was this lovely little necklace, and my brother bought it for me, and he gave it to me. And that was one of the first things. And then over the years, and then unfortunately, it became something of an obsession. Where a lot of the Doctor Who fans, buy their Doctor Who items. I unfortunately collect the props and the costumes. And that has become, as I say, a little bit of an obsession. The place is stuffed. It is absolutely stuffed with items. obviously, it's all health and safety conscious, so you can get a wheelchair around here, as we did only yesterday. But we love to see how we can stretch from the beginning of Doctor Who right the way through up to almost today. I'm looking forward to see. I don't wish to preempt whatever you're going to ask me, but I'm really looking forward to what our new chap is going to do with the show. Very much, because my God, he has got the most fabulous structure, and there's an intelligence there that you just know this guy is going to grab this show by the scruff of the neck and he's going to run with this, because he's got all the crew behind him with the passion and love of their series, because it is their series. I'm so looking forward to it. Oh, look at him. Look at that face.
Yeah. There's something about Ncuti Gatwa, I think, whether you've seen him in the shows that he's worked on before, the things like sex education or not. There's something about this guy. I think he could be the right man at the right time to sort of really bring people together and to push it on into wherever it's going in the future. I'm very, very excited about that, and excited about the return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate. Who knows whoever else is coming back. We just got to keep our fingers crossed for all of that. But it's lovely to hear and to see you just as enthused about it, even after all this time, as we are, as some of our younger listeners and viewers are. It's infectious, I think. Is
really is.
Thank you.
The antidote to cynicism.
Absolutely.
Alex, do you think, from a merchandise point of view, are you sensing that there could be, as I slightly am, that there could be another sort of renaissance coming from next year, 2023 onwards, because of what's going on, not just the Diamond Anniversary, but with the Ncuti introduction? Do you think there's going to be a sort of re-emphasis on merchandise, giving us more stuff? What's your initial reaction to all this that's happening right now?
I think there will be. I think that the Beeb will have very much learned so much from the 50th.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that they don't do what they did in 2005, because if you remember 2005, big supermarkets started to sell Doctor Who.
Yes.
And they didn't know what they had, and it was so disrespectful. And Elizabeth really got very annoyed, because she went shopping one day and in a cheap basket were some of the merchandise from the Sarah Jane Adventures. And she phoned me up. She was so upset that the show had been, as she said, disrespected. Yeah. And they had no clue. And it's just not the way to go. We have got places up around the country who sell little bits of Doctor Who. And they are people who appreciate. They're probably comic stores. They're stores that sell perhaps genres of different, but they've got a passion and they know what they're doing. You know, they've opened their places, and hopefully they've carried on going through the COVID and everything else, and they've kept their passion, because you'll find a lot will be just like myself. Stop paying themselves, just make sure the staff are paid, make sure the bills are covered, and just keep going on, because they love what they do. It's not, oh, I've got to make sure at the end of the month I've got money. It's passion. Yeah. So don't make the mistake. Don't go to those organizations and be disrespectful to the people who basically kept you going over the years in that wing of Doctor Who love.
Absolutely.
And we can sell your product, because as I was saying about the DVDs, we still have people who want them. We still can sell them. And lots of places have gone to the wall. And yet, lo and behold, they're still selling and they're still achieving. Yay! Love that, man. Love that, man.
That's a wonderful point.
If I can't dust it, I don't own it. It's that simple.
I think that's a brilliant point you put across there, Alex, because, you know, the fact that I can understand why Liz was so disappointed in seeing that, because the supermarkets treated Doctor Who as a lost leader eventually.
Yes.
And the amount of things that I did see as well, you're just thinking, hang on a minute, why is that?
Yeah.
And the fact is that, yourself and others like you got Doctor Who through those from 1989 to 2006, when the merchandise started to really take off again. And I did feel slightly when I started seeing things in some of the bigger, no care at all, as you're saying, but I started to think, hang on a minute, this isn't quite really what we had in mind, because it was new to us, it was different, and it hasn't worked because you can't find it for love nor money now. And yet here we are with you still around, going strong, ready to take in a new generation of merchandise.
2005, I was in the design center at a show, and I got a call to say Chris Eccleston was taking over. Could I get back to the shop as soon as possible? Because I can't remember if it was Channel 4 or Channel 5 wanted to do a piece that night, because it was like, wow, the show is definitely back, big news, and we have a massive name. And it was quite funny because I went, Christopher Eccleston is going to be the new Doctor Who. And I'm standing near a stand, and the guy said, what did you say? And I said, I own the Who shop, and I've just heard that Christopher Eccleston has been announced as new Doctor Who. And it was the design centres. It was you. And it went round, whoosh, all around the design centre. The next thing, the announcer at the show announces, we've just heard from one of our people that Christopher Eccleston has been announced as the Doctor Who, the new Doctor Who, and there's going to be a news thing on it tonight. So it just literally, now that shows you, because most of the people that were at that show, nothing to do with Doctor Who. Yeah. There were dress designers, there was butchers, there was all sorts of people, and yet Doctor Who, bang, they all wanted to know. It was, and there was a feel-good factor that went right the way around the place. It was wonderful. But what happened? Sainsbury's, Tesco's, all the rest of it. And I clung on by my fingernails. And as I say, I didn't pay myself for about 3 years. And we just lived on my husband's wage. And we just kept going and kept going. And luckily, I have such loyal customers. I love you all out there who, and even when we've had the recent bad times, they've all stuck with me, bless them, you know, and I am so grateful to them that they've done that, because it's payback, isn't it? You know, as that wonderful film where they pass it forward and they pass it back, you know, that's what we do. And hopefully in the future, those little ones who are watching this podcast, who have got a little inside of them saying, I want to do something with Doctor Who. I want to be an actor. I want to be a prop master. I want to be a costume designer. May we come back in 10 years' time and see how those guys are doing, because they're there.
Absolutely.
They could have been flicking through the items on your shelves earlier this week, for all we know.
Absolutely, darling.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. And in the 21st century, obviously, you reach out, don't you, through the miracle of the internet to extend that family even more so. You've got a fantastic website here, haven't you? You want to tell people about your website and where people can find it and what you're most proud of here, and just some of the things that people can do if they do live elsewhere in the UK. They find it a little harder to get back to the Who shop, or even abroad, because I know you take the Who shop wherever you can, whenever you can. But the website is up and running still, isn't it? And the lines of merchandise, you keep it all rolling in, don't you? So what's the deal with this? How frequently is it updated?
Oh, it's updated daily. And funny enough, if you're looking at the web at the moment, you see that lovely new Sea Devils exclusive T-shirt. We have lots of exclusive items. And that was created by Owen.
Oh, well done, Owen.
Yes. So because he said to me I'd like to do some creative stuff. And I said, well, okay, darling, see how you go with designs. And we've got some fantastic, phenomenal new designs coming out of the next. Yes, year.
Exclusive to the Who Shop.
And we've got lots of plans for next year for the 60th. So the website started again by somebody who came to see me from the States. He was right at the cutting edge of web design. And the website, my goodness, the name that it originated with was, I mean, goodness me, it was, you would have probably fitted it mostly across this room. It was like Who Shop Whizcat at Hilly something. It went on forever. And then, of course, over the years, they became shorter, more compact and more catchy. And we update all the time. It's just things that we want to go here in the UK and of course throughout the world. Some items we can't ship simply because we can't ship liquids to the US. We can't send super fragile items, but I would say a good 90% of things that are on the website can go anywhere around the world, including some strange places like Christmas Island, Reunion Island, where people have come from there to the shop, to the museum. Some of these people, they don't even have electricity to their houses. They have generators. How the heck they see Doctor Who is beyond me. It's amazing. But still, they come and it's like a mecca. You know, they come to the Who Shop to see, you know, the creation that we've created with the museum and the shop, and we welcome them all with open arms because they're the people we want to see. We want to see family.
I mean, you mentioned there that next year, 2023, is the Diamond Anniversary of Doctor Who, but it's not just the Diamond Anniversary of Doctor Who, and you're teasing some stuff you're bringing out there, but you yourself are celebrating a massive achievement in business. So we've got to talk about this, because what are you celebrating at the Who Shop next year? Come on, tell us.
Well, so at the end of that year, when we finish 23, then we tip into 24. 24 will be 40 years that the shop has been going. I just can't believe it. 40 years since that strange person called Kevin walked through on the first day, and I never let him go because I married him.
You married him, didn't you? That's not what usually happens in British shops. I just want to let people across the country know that doesn't usually happen. You don't just walk into a shop and get married. But this was a special thing. It
was great because he walks through the shop. There's a whole load of other people, and they were saying, well, I've got this. And Kevin was going, yeah, I've got that. And then they'll say, oh, and I've got such and such a thing and a such and such thing. And Kevin was like, yeah, and I've got that. And I thought, crikey, this guy knows a lot about Doctor Who. I must keep him around because he knows a lot about merchandise. So they always said, I married Kevin for his knowledge of Doctor Who, and Kevin married me for the discount.
And it worked brilliantly for nearly 40 years.
Absolutely, yeah. Because we've celebrated 35 years married this year. Can you believe it?
Oh,
can't be old enough. It's ridiculous. I was only 2 when we got married. You know, crazy.
So what have you got planned for your big anniversary? Because obviously you're going to be looking at stocking whatever they're going to throw at us for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who next year. And you've got your own exclusive coming as part of that as well, which I can't wait to see, because I know full well you're going to be taking most of my monthly wage. But, you know, it's a real case of what are you going to be doing to celebrate? I mean, it's a massive achievement, Alex. 40 years in business is a huge... You have ridden through the show being off the air, God knows how many recessions, COVID-19, which none of us, of course, would be ever coming. You've gone through the highs and the lows of the show being popular and not so popular. It's a massive achievement. You've got to celebrate it. What are the initial plans you've got coming for us now to celebrate and help with you?
Wow, goodness me. Yes, we are planning now for then. We've got lots of things that I can't tell you about. I'm being a bit like the BBC. Oh, I can't tell you about that because it's all secret.
J&T. She's doing a J&T here.
Oh, bless. Oh, I say Russell. I just love that guy. He was very sweet to me because when they brought the show back and they had the press launch, he invited me to the press show. And there was me, and it was quite funny because Matt Lucas was sitting halfway up on the other side, and when it in showing Rose, and when it get to the point where Mark opens the door, and he says, he points at Billy and goes, "But you're a girl," and Matt Lucas turned and pointed to me and just giggled and pointed at me because all the rest of the people that were in it were all blokes.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. It was phenomenal. And I went and I thanked Russell. I said, "Thank you so much for, inviting me, allowing me to come." And he went, "Yes, you should have been here. Absolutely. Quite right too." And he was just so sweet. Lovely guy. Absolutely lovely. And we cried when we found out that he was coming back because we all wanted him back. I don't think there was one person who didn't want to see Russell bring back the phenomenal show that he created in 2005. We just wanted him to come back and give us back what we were so excited to see in 2005, because he has a passion from the old days and he has a passion for the new days. I've never seen Chewie in anything. I've never seen any of those shows that he's been in, but from the excitement that Russell seems to have, oh my goodness!
If Russell's got faith in him, then then I think that it's more than he's more than earned our faith.
Yeah,
in his word, in his judgment, and in Ncuti Gatwa from everything that could come from 2024 onwards. I'm just as excited as you.
Yeah, Russell is the safe pair of hands. And Ncuti just seems to be the talent that's going to just bring it all together again. So looking forward to it.
Alex, will you be dressing Ryan Gosling anytime soon?
Who would believe that one? I couldn't believe that in the week. It's like, oh, you can come in, darling. Yeah, come on down. Yeah, next time you're in London, I had to have a word with George and find out when he's shooting anything in the UK. I say, bring him in. Get him in.
Yeah. Are you going to be looking at that sort of line of t-shirts? So something that Mr. Gosling would perhaps wear. Is that on the card for your 40th?
100% on. Because don't forget, again, I don't know whether people are aware. Do you remember in The Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode? Oh, you will. Yeah. I'm having words with you later. There's a episode where Penny is trying to set up one of the characters with a girlfriend, and at the very end he thanks her, and right behind him is a poster, the 2 Victory poster.
Yes,
they got that from me because I used to do San Diego, and
of course you did. Yes, of course.
Yeah. And prior to, I was contacted by the studio wanting bits and pieces, and as it subsequently found out, the bits that were in the background in Sheldon's living room, they came from the shop.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'd forgotten you used to do the STCC. I mean, you did your part in actually highlighting the show in America, didn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. San Diego. Oh my goodness, that's a phenomena all of its own. I don't do it anymore. Because it's so huge. I did it up until I think it was about 5 years ago was the last time I did it. Simply, it got to the point where all the massive studios, and of course we're only a little organization, and we just got sort of we got to the point where somebody would be walking along the aisle, they would cough, and by the time that they'd missed us, because obviously we're only 10 feet deep, bless them, so they'd go past, but again, we have the great John Barrowman. All hail the great John Barrowman. I'm in Stuttgart, and I'm in Stuttgart, and this girl comes and says, "You, Alex?" "Yes." John says, "Could he have a dress?" "Oh, hang on a second. Okay, take that one." So off this dress goes. And then about half an hour later, I hear these huge whoops and giggles from obviously the stage platform over at the Stuttgart comic event. And there's John on stage in his red stilettos in my dress. Bless him.
We've all seen those pictures.
It's great.
We're filling in some of the blanks here. This is incredible. But I think I've got one more question that I really want to ask you. As somebody who's on the inside in more ways than one, it sounds like in every respect. But I wanted your idea. As somebody who's clearly connected and clearly a very creative thinker too, all this merchandise that you've seen come and go, and the change in fashions and in tides with the series, is there one piece of merchandise, one idea, kind of Dragon's Den style again, in the back of your head, you keep thinking to yourself, why have they never made X, Y, or Z?
Well, the one piece of merchandise that I absolutely adored, and they did bring it out, was the television remote control as the sonic screwdriver.
Oh yes.
I didn't know about this. What's that?
Yes.
Oh yeah. 10th Doctor, 11th Doctor, 12th Doctor. They were absolutely gorgeous. A beautiful piece of design work. I sincerely hope they bring that back. I hope
you could change the channel on your TV with them.
Oh, it was interactive. It worked with the TV. It learned. So you had, and it wasn't just the TV, streaming, other bits that were coming. It was phenomenal, and it looked superb. Yeah. It was engineered precisely. I adored those. They were brilliant. There's lots of things I would love to see come out. Some of those items, fingers crossed, we will be working with license holders, companies, and bringing you some of those things. So feel free, anything you fancy, let me know, and I'll see what I can do.
Hang on, I've got a list.
That's the great thing, you see, because we've been around such a long time. We do have a lot of the license organizations who come to us and say, right, we've just picked up the license, we're going to be doing this. Is there anything you want to? And we run exclusives off their license to be able to, because it's what people want. How that works. Yeah, and we love doing that. For the ladies, our own little handbag, our little satchel bag. We did that, absolutely brilliant. And there's tons and tons of, as I say, our own exclusive t-shirts that we've done over the past years, and we're going to continue to do that, and other items which you will be watching this space, because the shop is an evolving beast. You cannot stand still.
You do realize, Alex, to talk about all this stuff and leave us with our appetites just hanging there, you've got to come back and tell us about some of this stuff a bit nearer the time. Give us the full QVC treatment. How about that?
Oh, yes, please. I would love to do something with you. Perhaps we might do a collaboration and do something specifically, exclusively for your pod people. And I don't mean Return of the Body Snatchers either. I mean the Who people, just for your podcast listeners. We would love to do that.
Watch this time and space, everybody, for that. It's coming up hopefully in the future. We'll get our heads together and see what we can think of here at Type 40 between us. Can't wait to see. So yes, the Who shop. Is it open now? Are you there now in whatever time zone or time stream people?
I am.
So where is the current store? Where's that located exactly? Okay. And what's your phone number and all that kind of thing?
So now we are really easy to find. But always I say to people, remember people, we know where we are. So if you go to our website, you can download directions, because unfortunately, if you do a Google, whilst Google knows where we are, the second if you're on the wrong side of the road and you don't put the postcode in, you might go the wrong way, because Barking Road's a very long road. And if you're on the right-hand side of the road, the numbering starts again. But if you're on the left, it's true. So on the left-hand side of the road, so as long as you're walking on the left-hand side of the road, you'll just turn the corner and we're 5 minutes up. But unfortunately, we have some people who just go Google they're on the right-hand side of the road, and they say, oh, we want to be at 39 to 41. Well, unfortunately, on that side of the road, it's 700 and something. They turn and they walk away from us.
No.
So don't do that.
Oh,
So
no,
go
don't
to
do
the
this.
website, thewhoshop.com. Nice and easy, thewhoshop.com. You can see on there. You can always phone us up, 0208 471 2356. If you're listening from the US, 208 471 2356. That's all you need to get in contact. You can obviously Twitter us. You can go through Facebook, all those lovely new inventions to find us. Come and see us. And I am sitting in the shop. Shop's open in the morning in the front at the moment. We've closed off the museum, especially for you. We've got sitting behind me. This is the console from the Ultimate Adventure stage play.
So that takes me back.
Yeah,
is that what that is? Of course it is. Yeah, I recognise it now.
And it's even still got, when you open the door, the bits and pieces that because John used to forget his lines, so he'd write lines down, and it's still got it in pencil.
Oh, we've got to see that.
Yeah, go and he'd read
Excellent.
it. Bless him.
Excellent.
And we love it. We love it.
You haven't got Zog in there as well, have you?
The dog's out the back. I kid you not. If the staff was here, because I haven't done a Who Shop TV thing for a little while, but yes, we've got, and her name is Fluff.
Oh, right. No, I meant Zog, from the show, from the Ultimate Adventure.
The reason she's called Fluff. Now, you would think that Fluff is a little fluff. No. I've called her Fluff because all my past dogs have all had their own name and also be known as Fluff. So that when I'll be in the forest, because I take my dogs to the forest, I'd shout, Fluff. And these big guys would think, oh, there's a little thing going to come. And this 40-kilo beast of a German Shepherd would come bounding out through the forest. And I just find it very funny. So when I got Fluff, female Fluff, I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to give her. I was going to call her Purdy.
Oh, fabulous.
And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to call her Fluff. And she is a German Shepherd, but she's off the Swiss line. She's very pretty. She's very sweet. And she walks around the front of the shop in between customers. She's very well behaved. And she loves Doctor Who as well. Because when we're at home, as well as watching, she reacts to Coronation Street theme tune because she knows there's a cat going to come on. She reacts to Emmerdale because she knows a dog is going to come through in the Dingles household. And she reacts to Doctor Who because she thinks, oh, that's the shop. I hear that. I know what's going on. And so a little head will go, and in fact, I can hear her now. I can hear her. She's up the back. She's very sweet. So come and see her and never be frightened of her because she loves everybody.
It sounds like your staff, whether they've got 4 legs or 2, will be there to make sure that the Daleks and the Cybermen don't get your customers, but you may get their wallets. They may take some punishment there.
Bless them. You might need a mortgage. You never know. You might just need a mortgage for some. I mean, again, because I have all the pocket ranges, things for £1, things up to tens of thousands of pounds, meaning obviously prop items. But whatever the pocket, we have it. I mean, this week alone, I brought some new bits and pieces in. I've got some beautiful, the storyboards for the costumes, and they're and they were found at Boot Fair.
You're kidding.
I didn't find them in the Boot Fair. Apparently, they were in a Boot Fair somewhere in Sussex.
What?
And a chappie came to see me, very artistic, and he spotted them straight away. He bought them. He'd had them sitting in the attic. There's the Carrie Knight, there's the Jadoon, and he's got swatches of the Jadoon material. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're wonderful. And Queen Victoria. So you got Pauline Collins. sitting
lovely.
there,
Yeah.
and then you've got the material on the side, and the clockwork from the girl in the fireplace. We've got the
Lovely
beautiful,
design.
and of course they're one-offs.
Yes.
You'll never see them again.
Yeah.
And
That's why I
they're
can't believe it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's my bit. That's the passion I see. Beautiful pieces that people will want to come and see.
Yes.
So don't, I don't like to lock things away. Some people lock things away and they keep it and they just keep it for themselves. I want everybody to enjoy it. So come in and enjoy my world of Doctor Who, please.
Absolutely.
It's great.
And all that
What a
television
fabulous
history in
site
one
to
place. You can't want anything more. Well done, Alex. Fantastic.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Thank you for inviting me on
I
today.
can hear.
I've got loads more rubbish stories. Next time, I'll make notes next time because I didn't make any notes today. I'll make some notes. I'll stick them in the corner and I'll go, got to tell that story. Got to tell that story.
I do that and I fronted over 100 of these. But that is the old girl starting up and calling time on another episode of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast. I'll be back with another soon. Look out for that wherever you found this. It could have been on the dedicated home feed for Type 40, type40.podbean.com. Maybe we rolled up on the podcatcher of your choice. So that could be Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, all those places. You get the picture. We're absolutely everywhere. We're on YouTube, of course, here on the Spacebook YouTube channel, and we're still on the fabulous Fandom Podcast Network's own master feed that's loaded up with all those treats for your ears. Never mind on the weekly, on the daily. They're coming at you with all the good stuff there at the Fandom Podcast Network. Maybe you'd like to have your say on all of this. Reach out to us through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type40 Doctor Who. And if you're feeling really, really brave, this is where our real hardcore geeks hang out. It's at the Type 40 Facebook group. You'll find regeneration upon regeneration's worth of fans there talking about classic Doctor Who, new Doctor Who, and speculating, just as we've been doing, about what's to come in all new Doctor Who at some point in the future, and also sharing a bit of shelf porn too. So people show off their merchandise and their collections. If I don't dust it, I don't own it. That's how I look at it. I think a lot of our friends feel the same way. We've got the Type 40 Doctor Who Blu-ray and DVD collectors group too there for people who go even deeper when it comes to the physical media. So go and find us over there, or you can email us at type40.podbean.com. What an episode, JT. I knew this was going to be lively.
Superb.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's lovely to see you.
Oh, it was absolute pleasure. Total pleasure. So you've got to keep your promise. You got to come in and see me.
Business.
Please.
Definitely. Be there very soon.
Give us those social media links again, Alex. Where can people find the Who Shop?
Right. So nice and simple, thewhoshop.com, telephone number 0208 471 2356. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We've even got our TV channel, which we haven't been doing too much. I apologize. We've just been so busy. But we're getting back to that. There will be some more going out this week. Just get on there. If you get to the website, that's got all the details on. I as you can see, I'm not the one person. You need to be speaking to Owen. Oh, we could get Owen on next time with us. That's
Let's have
bring him on. Yeah.
The merrier. There's plenty of space in this whole thing. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40, in fact. But that's it for this time. We'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, darlings.